why starting with a focus on diet first when you're trying to lose weight might just be the worst thing that you can do to achieve your goals. Let's dive in and find out why I've said that. I'm going to share with you in this video 3 things that you can do before you dive into weight loss. Now let me just put this into context for you before we get started. On screen you can see a client of mine, name's Gaynor. She was able to take off 80 pounds in weight, and I shared this information I'm about to share with you, and she almost quit working with me after the second week because I hadn't focused on diet straight away. So what is it that I get people to focus on, and why do I not get you to focus on diet straight away? Correct me if I'm wrong, but if I said to you right now, take out a pen and paper and write out a healthy eating plan to the best of your ability and stick with it for the next 6 to 12 weeks, do you think you'd lose weight? I think the answer would be a resounding yes, you would, because most women over the age of 50 have probably tried 2, 3, 4, 5 different diets over the course of years, possibly decades. So you already have a wealth of knowledge when it comes to weight loss. You're not lacking knowledge. People don't lack knowledge. In fact, there's too much information out there. There's information overload out there. So that's not what we're lacking. What we're lacking is a fresh approach to weight loss and not getting bogged down with the things that we think we need to be doing when we start off on a weight loss. So that's what I'm going to be sharing with you in this video. 3 specific things that you can do to accelerate your weight loss and not get bogged down with just focusing on the diet. Now, just to be clear, the 3 things I'm about to share with you are 3 things that I would actually cover in week number 1 if I were working with you and you were my client. So the first thing we look at is your self-talk. What's the conversation you're having in your head? What are the conversations you're having in your head when you are, talking about weight loss? What are you saying to yourself? Do you have comments like, I can never do it, it's impossible for me, I've never been able to achieve weight loss before, I don't have motivation, discipline? All of these are the sort of conversations that people typically have in their heads when they start off on a weight loss journey. In fact, when they start, the volume gets turned up to level 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. It's absolutely booming out. So the first thing to do, and the first thing I ask my clients to do, is just, okay, let's just identify how you are speaking to yourself. Not in an attempt to suddenly radically change everything, just to become aware of what you're actually saying. Because awareness really is the first step. If we're not self-aware, then we've got absolutely no chance of making any changes. So just by becoming aware of your own self-talk and what's going on in your head, it's an opportunity for you to put that down on paper, take a look at it, and then really interrogate that, question that. Is that true about you? And if it has been true in the past, is it something you could maybe start to create a different set of self-talk to override that? Now you may be thinking, well, this all sounds a bit wishy-washy, Eric, but just think about it for a second. When you've been at your best and you've done something that's quite challenging, can you recall the conversation you had in your head? You were probably saying, I can do this, I will do this, I'm capable of doing this. Versus in the past when you've done something that you failed at, that maybe you thought you could achieve, what was that self-talk like? It was probably completely the opposite. So becoming aware of how we're speaking to ourselves in a negative way, and then changing that up for some more positive statements. Now, am I saying by doing this in the first session of working with me that it would suddenly change everything? Of course I'm not. It takes time, because thinking, the way we think, is a habit. And in the same way, the way we eat is a habit, the way we move our bodies is a habit. But habits can be changed. We can install new habits that override the old habits, but it does take practice. So we need to address our thoughts, because when we address our thoughts lead to how we feel, our feelings lead to our actions, and our actions lead to our results. So that's the starting point, identifying any self-limiting self-talk that you may have. So number 2 is taking a look at your food environment. So what do I mean by looking at your food environment? Well, we start off by saying, okay, what lives in your fridge at home? We're not going to delve into the ins and outs of diets. We're going to basically say, okay, what's in your fridge right now? What's in your pantry? What's in your cupboards? And you're going to take a look at that, and you're going to make a column of an A column and a B column. In the A column, you're going to write down all the foods that you know that if you ate those on a regular basis, are going to assist you when it comes to weight loss. In the B column, you're going to write down all the foods that you know, if you indulge in them or keep going to those foods on a regular basis, they're either going to slow your weight down or your weight loss down, or they're going to help you, not help you, but they're going to cause you to increase weight. So 2 columns. Once you've made those 2 columns, you've then got 3 choices as to how you're going to deal with the stuff in the B column, the stuff that you know potentially can lead to weight gain or slow your weight loss down. And here are the 3 choices. You're either going to get rid of the stuff, you're going to avoid it, or you're going to exchange it. Now, in my experience, the best option out of those 3 is to exchange it. Why? Because when you say, I'm going to get rid of it, you know, getting rid of it can be a bit like cold turkey, and you can find yourself craving it because you've got rid of it, thinking about it a lot. It's a bit like if I say to you, don't think of a pink elephant. That's it. It's in your head now. You're thinking of a pink elephant. Or if you think about trying to avoid it, you know, maybe you're going to put it in a cupboard. You know, I had one client that told me she put her wine in a chest in a garden shed at the bottom of the garden to avoid drinking the wine. Now, that's a little bit extreme, I would say. But the classic would be, you know, biscuits, crisps, cheese, alcohol, that type of thing. You say you're going to put it in a cupboard somewhere out of sight, and that can kind of work. But when you are in a maybe stressful situation, you're feeling a bit triggered, that's often when you can hear that chocolate bar calling out your name. So trying to avoid it, maybe not a good approach. Whereas an exchange could be a game changer, because when you exchange something, take for example, I'll just use this as an example, chocolate. Maybe you're a bit of a Cadbury's fruit and nut fiend and you like eating that. Well, maybe you exchange that for dark chocolate. And I know from personal experience, I can't eat anywhere near the same volume of dark chocolate as I can dairy milk, fruit and nut chocolate. I can eat loads of that if I have to or want to. So by making that exchange, that's something that can become more of a lifestyle for you. So that's number 2, taking a look at your food environment and then working out your A and your B column and deciding what you're going to do with that B food that is contributing to your weight gain or your lack of weight loss. And before we dive into number 3, something that's going to assist you with this video and act as a good complementary support to this video is my free 3-minute weight loss boost assessment. There's a link below this video. Click on that, take you to a page, answer a few simple questions, take you less than 3 minutes, and you'll get back a personalized report that's going to help you to kickstart your mindset, your diet, and your exercise. You can click on that at the end of this video. Okay, number 3 then, let's talk about your people environment. And there are 3 types of people you're going to come into contact with when it comes to trying to lose weight. So let's deal with the positive one first. The positive one is your cheerleaders. Now, cheerleaders, unfortunately, are few and far between. You know, these are the people that will sort of chiv you along, will try and pick you back up when, you know, things are not going that well. Generally, these people are quite optimistic in their general outlook in life, and they're great to have around. If you can find a cheerleader, hang on to the coattails, because they are worth their weight in gold when it comes to trying to lose weight. So that's a cheerleader. And then we have 2 other types of people. Now, the other types of people are, the first one is what I call a saboteur. Now, here's the thing about a saboteur. A saboteur is the sort of person that will say something like, you're doing really well, you can have an extra donut. You know, they've seen that you've lost some weight, so they're now encouraging you to have that food that possibly you'd either exchanged or you've got rid of, and now they're saying you can have it because you're doing well. Here's an interesting thing about saboteurs. Saboteurs can also sometimes be cheerleaders as well. For example, your significant other. And I've heard this a lot from a lot of my clients, where their significant other on the one hand cheering them along, you're doing well, you're doing well. Then on the next hand, they're the ones saying, should we have a takeaway tonight? So you just need to be aware of that. But then you've got saboteurs that are family, friends, people further afield, and sometimes people sabotage you. And this will sound a bit tough to say, but they'll sabotage you because they're a little bit jealous of what you're doing. And I see this more in the female community than I ever have seen it in the male community. Don't know why, but that's just the way it tends to be. So those are saboteurs. And the third type of person you're going to come across when it comes to the people environment is what I call a heckler. Now, hecklers are very subtle in how they approach this and what they say. It will go something like this. Hey, Jane. And if your name is Jane, I'm just guessing, I don't really know your name is Jane, but let's just say you're Jane. Hey Jane, did you hear about Sally who lost all that weight? She lost, I think it was 5 stone, did incredibly well. Did you hear about that? And you're like, no, didn't hear about that. And then this lady says, but guess what? She's only going to put it back on again. In fact, she's not just going to put it back on again, she's put on even more. So in that one conversation, what have they just sort of relayed to you in a sort of subconscious way? On the one hand, they're saying someone's doing really well, but on the other hand, it's not even worth doing it because look, she's going to put all the weight back on again, and in fact she's heavier than what she was before. So in that one statement, they've kind of given you some hope, and then they've snatched it away because it's pointless doing it. And again, this can come from people who are either slimmer than you and have always been slimmer than you and want to maintain the status quo, or someone that's similar size to you and doesn't want to see you become slimmer than them because it shines a spotlight on them, which they don't want to do. You make them start to feel uncomfortable. So hopefully found that of some value. Now, if you're interested in finding out about a slightly more in-depth plan about how to go about achieving your weight loss, check out the video on screen now where I go into more detail and I share a 6-step plan that can help you get the results you are looking for.